I've become addicted to the wacky stories Inside Edition covers, and I've got a spicy one for you that's fresh off the press. This bun is straight from the oven. It is brand spankin' new. It's about a Secret Service agent who allegedly breaks into a hair salon to use the bathroom, and then leaves everything unlocked with an alarm blaring, which summons 2 more authorities to go in there and just kind of hang out and take some mints before leaving. It is a baffling story, and I use the word allegedly here, even though there's security camera footage that show her going up to the door, putting tape over the camera, and then going into the facility. The only thing that's alleged at this point is whether or not she left a floater or just took a pee.
And controversy over what happened at a hair salon near a Kamala Harris event in Massachusetts. A Secret Service agent can be seen on surveillance video covering up the camera. Then EMS workers were spotted inside eating mints from the salon and reportedly using the bathroom. But the question is, did someone break in?
If you ask a tiny brain homunculus, the answer is a resounding yes. I feel like there's no other explanation here, because she is on camera grabbing a chair in order to boost herself up so she can tape over the security camera. Who does that if they have permission to use the facility to take a shit? That doesn't make any sense. And I couldn't help but giggle very hard when the other authorities show up and just start taking mints with the alarms blaring after the Secret Service agent busts in here. What else could possibly be the explanation for climbing up and covering the camera if she had permission? Oh, well, actually, she's a very shy pooper, and the frequency of the cameras interrupt her circadian rhythm, and it makes it hard for her to shit in public, so she did this in order to block all of the infrared 5G so she could, you know, take a dump in peace. Like, there's just nothing that makes sense. There's no explanation for why the Secret Service agent would climb and cover the camera if this was all by the book. Just a standard handshake agreement that you can go piss and shit in my toilet.
That's a Secret Service agent on the porch of a beauty salon. The agent was part of a detail assigned to protect Kamala Harris when she appeared at a fundraising event in Pittsfield, Massachusetts 2 weeks ago. The salon was closed for the day. Now look, 2 minutes later, the agent returns and pulls a chair over. Then she climbs on top, tears off some tape, and covers the lens.
The Secret Service as a whole has been in some boiling hot water recently. Their reputation is worse than chickenpox right now for obvious reasons, like the Trump assassination attempt. Then we had the former Secret Service director make an absolute fool of herself at the hearing, a complete embarrassment, which then led to her stepping down from her position because she overdosed on cringe. And now this. The hits just keep coming. Now that's what I call music volume 55. This shit is crazy. And I'm not even talking about what came out of her ass. So the Secret Service is trying to make the claim that they had permission to be there, or at least they were under the impression that they had permission to be there, which I'm just going to say is a bunch of barnacles. That's some fucking horseradish right there. Nobody would cover the camera if they weren't doing anything wrong. That doesn't make any sense.
The beauty salon owner says when she opened her shop later that day, the lock on the door appeared to have been picked.
And when she checked her interior surveillance camera, she found this shocking scene. The alarm going off and 2 uniformed women, one of them grabbing mints off the counter.
A source tells Inside Edition that the women were not Secret Service, but apparently were among local first responders working with the Secret Service team.
I love how the alarm is just blaring this entire time, and these 2 authorities show up, and you expect they'd be like trying to figure out what's going on, like, who's the burglar? Where are they at? You know, the Hamburglar just came in here and caused mayhem and left a whole number 2 in the toilet. We gotta find the culprit. But instead, what they're doing is just taking some mints. I guess they were under the impression that the alarm was the mint alarm that was welcoming them in to just grab some mints.
So, why did they enter the beauty shop? According to reports, to use the bathroom.
But even if they're not Secret Service agents, some are still blaming the embattled agency.
Secret Service agents broke in to that salon owner's place.
A Secret Service spokesman tells Inside Edition the agency has reached out to the beauty salon owner. Our personnel would not enter or instruct our partners to enter a business without the owner's permission.
Yes, of course. When I get permission to do something, I usually like to do it in the most suspicious fashion possible. So if I was invited to grab a necklace from a jewelry store in the display case, I would probably do that while wearing a ski mask and breaking the glass open with a big sledgehammer. What kind of fucking putrid drivel is coming out of their mouth with this? What do you mean? The lock was picked, she covered the camera, the alarm is blaring. How was there any semblance of an understanding that this was a completely normal interaction where they had permission to be there? That doesn't make sense. It's just a violation of this business owner's constitutional rights. This Secret Service agent didn't even need toilet paper in the bathroom because she was busy wiping her ass with the Constitution. This shit is so foul.
The president of the county ambulance service says the paramedics inside were using a bathroom they were told they could use by people in supposed authority.
How? The alarm is blaring. What did they think was going on there? A shardy party or something where everyone was just welcome to use the bathroom and the alarm was just to, you know, get everyone's attention that, hey, this bathroom is available to just wreak havoc on? How could anyone get the impression that this bathroom is totally open while the alarm is blaring the entire time and the business owner and nobody is even there to be seen? How do you get that impression?
We spoke to former Secret Service agent Jim Rathman.
Entering, using the bathroom, eating the candy, that part is not something that is normal and should not have happened.
Obviously, it shouldn't have happened. I can't imagine it's standard protocol here. No one's expecting the Secret Service agents to be wearing a diaper that they'll soil themselves in where they don't get bathroom breaks or something and they just have to hold it forever. But they're expecting some level of decorum where they can feel safe knowing that the Secret Service isn't just going to pick their locks to use their toilet. You know what I mean? A spokesperson reiterated that the personnel wouldn't enter or instruct partners to enter without owner's permission. They believed they had it here. They then offered to pay for damages, cleaning, or the business's private alarm bill. The owner said they were happy with the apology and it brought a level of accountability. However, they said, when they cleaned up, they left the tape on my camera and they left my back door completely unlocked. What could have happened in that hour and a half or 2 hours that you guys left the building unlocked? Which is a really good point. Yeah, thanks for doing the bare minimum of taking some level of accountability, even though you're trying to weasel your way out of just admitting that a Secret Service agent had the grumbly tummy and needed to use a bathroom immediately, so they picked a lock and broke in. That, to me, seems like the most likely explanation for all this, but I'm no crackshot detective or anything. But even with you offering to pay for any damages that might have been incurred by the business, it still fails to account for how much worse this could have been since the lock was allegedly picked and since there's still camera or tape on the camera. The salon was left without any defenses. Its force field was shut down from the inside here. It was just left completely open and accessible to anyone, as illustrated by 2 other authorities coming in and taking some mints. This could have been significantly worse for the salon here. It's just lucky no one decided to act while the camera was disabled and everything was unlocked. So yeah, just another Secret Service L here. That's really about it. So yeah. It's been around a week now since the Lenovo Intel booth at TwitchCon nearly claimed the soul of a streamer due to an improperly set up foam pit. I'll give you the quick breakdown on the lore if you're not up to speed. Twitch streamer named Adriana Chechik was partaking in a fun booth at TwitchCon set up by Lenovo and Intel, where you push each other off a pedestal into a foam pit. I'm sure it's something we've all done before. However, after Adriana Chechik won, she jumped into the foam pit, only to realize that it wasn't a foam pit, it was a foam kiddie pool, like something out of backyard wrestling. In fact, it wasn't even as deep as a kiddie pool, it was more like a foam flatbread, and it was just over cement, which is a goddamn violation of the Geneva Convention. Like, that is just an actual death trap. That is more deadly than the pit of snakes Indiana Jones falls into. It was only 2 layers of foam blocks, basically, over cement. And as I understand it, the normal protocol is, instead of cement, you put, like, foam padding down or a cushion, like a mat. So that way it absorbs some of that impact for a situation like this. And obviously it's supposed to be deeper than like fucking 1 finger deep. You know, like it wasn't deep. I'm exaggerating, but it only went up to most people's knees, if that. So it wasn't deep enough at all for this event. Because you're pushing people off of this pedestal, they're going to fall with some force behind it. You need the foam to be a bit deeper than that. Here, they didn't do that, so when she jumped in, she had her tailbone directly on the floor, and shattered her back in 2 places, and now she's needed a very serious surgery. Took over 5 hours, multiple bone fusions, and the insertion of a rod into her spine for stability. Like, it is a very serious and life-changing injury that she's going to be battling with for the rest of her life. It is a permanent injury. All due to negligence from Lenovo and Intel when setting up this booth because they didn't feel like actually setting up the foam pit properly. They also just didn't feel like shutting it down after injuries either because this happened to 2 other people. One of them dislocated their knee in that same pit, but they still kept that shit running. Baffling. But today what I wanted to do is give you an update on this situation because I've been following it actively and I went over it on stream a couple days ago, but there's already been a couple new things that have come out. So I just wanted to give everyone the follow-up here. So Adriana Chechik had 1 surgery, which was all the bone fusions, but then she also needed a 2nd surgery. That was yesterday. And then she also posted a video of her trying to walk for the first time. And it's great to see her making some recovery here, but it's also heartbreaking to see how fucking painful it is. All due to something easily preventable had they actually just taken the precautions necessary to set up the foam pit properly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the clips from stream where I go over everything as of a couple days ago because I think there's a lot of valuable information there, especially from people that are more knowledgeable than I am on foam pits. There's a clip from Josh Strife Hayes, who's a YouTuber I really enjoy, who weighed in on the subject because he had worked at a trampoline park before, so he was able to talk about it on a deeper level. So I'm going to play all those clips for you now, just as like a full update on this whole situation. What's the TwitchCon news? Oh, yeah. So Adriana Chechik, the lady that jumped into the foam pit after winning her match at the TwitchCon, or the Lenovo Intel booth at TwitchCon, she broke her back in 2 places. Her surgery is done now, and I'd like to read her tweet. Because, man, I tell you what, it's only up from here. It sounds like everything's gonna be going great. Here she said, where is it? Surgery went well. It took 5 hours and 30 minutes. More fusions than expected. Bones were completely crushed and nerve damage to my bladder. Hopefully I'll be able to pee again in the near future. No more squirting probably. Had some bleeding around the bone, but overall good. Legitimately life-altering. The rest of her life course has completely changed. And now squirting is off the table, I suppose. But she's being lighthearted about it, but on a very serious note, having fusions at her age with an injury that severe, she's looking at a lifetime of fucking misery. I was reading about some people that have had fusions in their back like that. That is something that never goes away, the pain. Her follow-up tweet also was this. In a lot of pain, but feeling hopeful and ready to bring the heat to walk again. Anyone know where I can get my brace blinged or a pink coating for it, as I'll be in it for a long time. I don't even want to read this one out. This is fucking horrifying. All from an improperly set up foam pit at a convention. This is 100% the Lenovo Intel booth fault. 100%. Let me once again try and find this clip. It's from Josh Strife Hayes, who actually spent some time working on these foam pits, so he gives a little deeper insight.
I used to work at a trampoline park. I know a thing or two about foam pit safety, because it was drilled into us from the start. Safety in those kind of things is paramount. Like, if someone gets injured, you shut stuff down and you work out why. And you work out whether it's your fault,
they kept it up.
It's their fault, and what can be done about it immediately. Foam pits were at least 2 meters deep. They had so much foam in them. They had springy floors underneath. They had wood underneath that would bend and break if something really big hit it. So there was still some give there. There was some absorption of all that power. It's had I have been working at that as an event, I'd have said this isn't safe. This is not safe.
Yeah, I think anyone with eyes would have said that.
There is no way
I don't know how the fuck this happened.
On top of concrete is going to protect anyone. Now, people have said, oh, they've got a waiver. You know, they can't do anything. They've got a waiver. Waivers don't protect you from negligence.
I think that's a really important point he makes, and he'd know better than most. I was under the impression her hands were also tied with that waiver, but that is a really good point, that if it's proven to be negligence, which I think anyone who would watch that video would see that it was improperly set up, she could have a legitimate case. Not against TwitchCon, I don't think. It'd have to be going after Lenovo, Intel, I think. Because TwitchCon, it'd be very hard to prove TwitchCon was negligent on that booth since it's not their booth. They just okayed them to be there. So if she does pursue it, it'd have to be going after them. I don't know if she will. I would say it's probably worth it because she's looking at an extremely expensive and very, very, very brutal future. Like caring for that back injury now. Multiple fusions, the rod, PT, surgeries, all of that is going to be so, so expensive. I do think she probably should. I also work at a trampoline park. The smallest occurrence, we shut down the foam pit. The rules we have for it are set straight. It was 4 feet deep and has springs and foam padding at the bottom. This was unacceptable. Exactly. Like, at the very least, if you're not going to put enough foam, you need to have something that's not just a fucking slab of concrete. You may as well just put, like, barbed wire and spikes at the bottom, like a Mortal Kombat fatality pit. Like, it's just, it was such a dumb setup. Such an easily avoidable situation that has legitimately had a massively detrimental impact on one person's life now. And the girl who broke her ankle in 3 possible ways. You're getting things mixed up now. You're starting to cross some wires here. The girl who broke her ankle in 3 ways wasn't at the foam pit. That one is not Twitch's fault even slightly. She went a little too hard in her activity, so she ended up jumping over a chair, landing on her ankle and breaking it in 3 ways. That was... Twitch... No one could have planned for that. She just went like fucking superhero mode over the chair and landed on her ankle. That one is not Twitch's fault. Do you think they'll have the foam pit again at TwitchCon next year? Good question. I think they should, but this time they make it even more dangerous, like an actual Thunderdome. So you go in there, this time they actually have like a moat around it instead of foam with like alligators in it or something. Like really just go in, like make it as life-threatening as possible. That booth is extremely lucky that the only other injury that wasn't Adriana breaking her back in 2 places was a dislocated knee, which is still a serious injury, but they kept it open after the back break. Someone could have just straight up died. That was very real. People falling in that pit, they fall head first, they're hitting the concrete, they could have just died. They got super lucky because they didn't shut it down after the injury. So that could have ended up a lot worse. Has the company said anything about the injuries? That's a great question, actually. Let me look. She can't walk anymore, like forever? Not forever. Through PT, I feel like she will be able to walk again, but she's never going to be the same. She had multiple bone fusions, man, in her fucking back, her spine. Like, there should have never been a foam pit on top of concrete anyway. Yeah, obviously. But even that would be fine if they also put an actual, like, spring pad and, like, cushion mat above the concrete and then the foam blocks. It could have still been fine. Did they compensate her for in some way? No. Here's my thought. I'm very confident in saying that they won't release a statement because then that could be used against them should she sue, which again, I do think she should since this is going to be a very long and very expensive journey with all these surgeries she's getting and all the surgeries she's going to be getting, as well as lifelong PT and pain meds. She should sue because that's going to be such a massive financial burden. They're not going to say anything because that would absolutely get used against them. And if they compensated her, that would be an admission of guilt. So they're not going to compensate her. They're not going to say anything. They're just going to hope she doesn't sue. Is my guess. That's my guess. This was Lenovo's statement from NBC News. We're aware of the incidents of the TwitchCon visitors who sustained injuries in the Gladiator game saw foam pit at the Lenovo booth. The area has since been closed for any further use while we work with event organizers to look into the incidents. Something that stands out to me is that they're wrong because it wasn't closed after the first injury or even the second injury. And they also do call it a foam pit, which means that now that they've identified it as a foam pit, They needed to play by the standard foam pit, like, rules. You call it a foam pit, which means you now have to go by exactly how foam pits are maintained, which they didn't. They can't fall back on, like, some kind of loophole like, we never claimed it was a foam pit, or anything. No, again, that's not... I'll say it again. I don't think TwitchCon is liable for their negligence. I'm sure TwitchCon was under the impression they were going to do it properly. Follow the proper protocols for a foam pit. This is a Lenovo Intel situation, so if she's going to sue, I think it has to go to Lenovo Intel instead of going after Twitch. Because it is a Lenovo Intel negligence case. But I guess since they're at TwitchCon, maybe TwitchCon's on the hook as well. I really don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer. That's just my guess. Because it wasn't their booth. Yeah, people get really mad at the people that were doing the commentary when Adriana broke her back in the pit. I can't even really be mad at them. I think they just had no idea the extent of her injury and were doing everything possible to try and keep things lighthearted and move on. Because they were doing a live broadcast and they were probably panicked. Like, they were just normal people. Those weren't even like normal PR guys or anything. I think they were just like legitimately normal employees of the event. Like, I just don't think they knew. And they just did everything they could to, like, you know, hey, it's, you know, let's just move on, you know, this kind of shit. They probably just had no idea. With all of the drama that was going on Twitch for the last month or so, people expected TwitchCon to be a war zone. Just this battlefield of blood, guts, tears, mangled corpses littering the convention hall, fights breaking out, people spitting on each other. But none of that's happened. In fact, a lot of the bridges that were burnt in all of that drama have been repaired. Now, who knows if they've been repaired with bubblegum and duct tape, or if they're genuinely okay with each other now and friends going forward. There's no telling. I guess we'll have to wait and see a month from now. But there has been something that's developed at TwitchCon that nobody expected. A fucking death trap. A goddamn booby trap, like something Wile E. Coyote would have sprung up to try and catch the Roadrunner. Of course, I'm just exaggerating. It's not supposed to be that way. It's one of those, like, gladiator combat things. I'm blanking on the name of it, so I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot trying to describe it. But it's those raised platforms above a foam pit where you have, like, pushing utensils to push your friend off into the foam pit and you win when you're the last one standing. I'll show you a clip of when XQC and Hassan fought each other on them so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure all of you have seen these before. I remember playing on these bad boys back in elementary school during field days, so they've been around for a long time, they're tried and true, and they've always just been good, safe fun. But unfortunately at TwitchCon, it seems the organizers really skimped on the amount of foam necessary to cushion a real fall, because a streamer named Adriana Chechik broke her back in 2 places jumping into the foam pit.
Great victory there.
I can't get out. Are you okay? Are you okay?
She's held down by the pitfall. Medic!
Gravity.
No, she's fine.
All right, we'll make sure she's okay. Get her out of the pit.
Landed on her tailbone.
Yeah.
Now she lives in the pit now, I kind of think.
You can see that she lands like right on her tailbone and like bounces up a little bit, kind of like that episode in iCarly where Gibby jumps off the ceiling, hits the concrete and bounces a little bit, which was a real stunt performed by a real stuntman who shattered all of his ribs doing that. So this is a pretty brutal injury here, and she had to go to the ER, and she's now getting surgery in order to put a rod in her back in order to help support it. So an absolute life-changing injury experienced here. And she wasn't the only one. Another streamer dislocated her knee in the pit, and then the person she went there with, EddieBot, the person who fell before her, also experienced back pain, but no, like, permanent injury from that. I'm sure everyone knows this, but I want to vocalize it again. Back injuries last pretty much forever, or at least they can. Even, like, minor ones will always kind of rear their ugly head from time to time. I remember a few years back now, I had like some kind of like little bruise or something on my L4. I couldn't sit right without it hurting. I couldn't like climb upstairs without my ass just hurting. And that was just like a little baby boo-boo on my back, and that lasted for months. Had to get PT for it. Had to get physical therapy for like a tiny little back injury. And of course, you can always read about the people that have lifelong chronic back pain just from like really simple stuff like sitting in a chair the wrong way for too long, or like the classic prank of pulling a chair out from under someone and the person falls and then has like some kind of disc contusion or like slips a disc or something. And those injuries, they don't ever fully go away. So this, I have no doubt, will have a long-lasting effect on the rest of her life. So it really is like a pretty serious thing. Just a really unfortunate situation, and I don't think this was a Twitch booth. As I understand, this was a completely separate booth from another organization that was just at TwitchCon. And it seems like they really just didn't know how to do this properly, because this just doesn't seem up to code at all. This cannot be the regulation amount of foam required in these pits, because it looks like there's only like 2 layers of foam cubes there. They just like sprinkled them in like breadcrumbs, and then at the bottom of it just seems like it's a fucking slab of concrete. Pure, unapologetic, unforgiving concrete at the bottom. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of cushioned pad there, which is just wild to me. But what's even goofier is the 0 IQ takes I've seen on Twitter about this, blaming Adriana Chechik, saying it's her fault that she got injured, she did it to herself, she should have known better than jumping into the foam pit. Like, you absolute brain-dead troglodyte. It's a foam pit. The entire purpose is to cushion a fall. They're common at, like, trampoline parks, carnivals, like I mentioned in school for field days and shit like that. I have done exactly what she's done, cannonballing into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. I've flipped into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. Even McDonald's, like, their ball pits are probably lighter to land on than this foam pit at TwitchCon. Like, the whole purpose is it is supposed to be there to cushion your fall so something like this, a catastrophic injury, doesn't happen. You are supposed to be able to jump into them. The problem here is it's not a foam pit. It's a foam puddle. And I don't think that information was relayed to the competitors here that took part in this activity. It's not an actual like 3 feet, 4 feet deep foam pit at all. You can tell by looking at other videos from the event, when people are walking around in the foam pit, the foam cubes barely make it to their knees. So it's not very deep to begin with. So it's not even a deep foam pit, thus you shouldn't be jumping in it, yes, but no one's going to know that just by looking at it because we're all trained to see a foam pit and expect it to be like an actual real foam pit where it is up to code and you can jump into it, but this one is not. This is like some bootleg shit that was just shoddily thrown together and is genuinely unsafe because there are multiple injuries that have occurred here, and yet for some reason they kept it open even after the injuries. It's not her fault this happened. She expected it to be like an actual deep foam pit, which it was not. And a lot of people have asked me why I didn't go to TwitchCon. Well, it's because they're trying to kill you out there, it seems. It's unsafe to be there. That's not the real reason. I just don't go to conventions or anything, and I'm certainly not fucking flying to San Diego or wherever this is to go to it. I'm afraid of flying in the first place. I'm not flying out there, and especially to be around like a ton of people, which I don't even like doing in the first place, I'm not going. But now the cherry on top is these dangerous, life-threatening booths out here, like, what's next door, I wonder? The catch an arrow out of midair booth or something? Like, good lord. You know, it's just... I'm sure TwitchCon is a lot of fun, and this is just a really unfortunate circumstance here, but come the fuck on. This is so easily preventable if you just had more foam. Just be safer with it. And especially at TwitchCon, where all the streamers are like gamers. You know, like... I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. If I was competing in that, I probably would have fallen headfirst, like diving in there by accident after losing my balance. And from the looks of things, I would have absolutely just died there. Just would have hit my head on the bottom of it, died instantly. So I just feel like it's kind of obvious to expect things like this, like, it's a foam pit. Some people like to jump into foam pits. Is this deep enough for that? Probably not. So let's put a pad at the bottom at the very least, or let's put more foam in there. Like, just obvious solutions. I just don't know how this mistake could have even happened in the first place. Now, a lot of people are saying that she should be suing for this, and, you know, I'm not a fucking lawyer, I didn't pass the bar or anything, and I'm certainly not her agent giving her direction on what she should do with her life and her decisions, but I think it is worth mentioning that everyone that went into that arena signed a waiver beforehand, so I don't know if she even could sue if she wanted to. Again, maybe she could, I'm not familiar with the law or anything, but there was waivers that needed to be signed prior to entering into that. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I think it's very sad. Like, the event overall, from everything I've seen, has been very positive and very overall great for a lot of people. They've had a lot of fun. And like I said, I have no doubt that it's a very fun event, and this is just a really unfortunate booth that's been set up here that doesn't really seem all that safe. And again, I'm not there, so I don't know if there's truly no pad at the bottom of that foam pit, but regardless, it's clearly not a good enough pad if this kind of injury can occur, and this many injuries as well. Because not only has there been an extremely serious one with Adriana Chechik breaking her back in multiple spots, but there have just been a decent amount of injuries in general at that location. So clearly something isn't set up properly if this many people are getting hurt there. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and that's about it. So yeah. Earlier this week, you may have noticed that I uploaded a video called R. Kelly Has Created a Masterpiece, which was taken down 4 minutes after its upload by R. Kelly himself. Now, when I say that, it's a bit of an exaggeration because I'm pretty sure R. Kelly doesn't know how to use a computer, but R. Kelly's label took it down 4 minutes after I posted it. And during this time, I've been going over the legality of reposting it in other places, and I just feel like it's probably not worth the risk. Albeit the video is 100% fair use, that label just seems like it'd be crazy enough to just go to court for it and waste a lot of money, so I'm not gonna fuck with that. So instead, I'll give you a video talking about R. Kelly's masterpiece, Trapped in the Closet. I'm sure a lot of you watching this don't even know R. Kelly ever created music. The only thing people know him for these days is his legendary Pissing on Women and his Ethiopia concert where he sang, "Do you have your passports? Did you get your shots? Do you want to come back with Rob to America?" So, I mean, that's the only legacy he has, but he used to make music, and in 2005, he released a little banger called Trapped in the Closet. Trapped in the Closet is 33 chapters of a soap opera that sounds like it was written by a 4th grader for a creative English project. It is the most batshit insane and unbelievably comedic, unintentionally comedic piece of art that any human being has ever created. Trapped in the Closet is like if Tommy Wiseau butt-fucked Neil Breen and Neil Breen started splurting out soap opera lines and R. Kelly sang them. The shit is wacky. It is perhaps one of the best pieces of fiction that I think has ever been written. It is genuinely like Homer's Odyssey for R&B. It's like the Epic of Gilgamesh for music. I think I said it best during the stream I did at twitch.tv/moistcritical when we watched the first 12 chapters. It's broken up in chapters. The first 12 covers the story of Sylvester, James, Rufus, Chuck, Kathy, Gwendolyn, Rosie the Nosy Neighbor, Bridget. It covers a whole cast of characters that all go through this incredible series of events that occur over the course of a single day. It's like 24, but without the action and significantly more cheating. The story, in a nutshell, is about Sylvester, who cheated on his wife with a woman named Kathy, and then Kathy's husband came back during the events, and Kathy panicked and put R. Kelly in the closet. And from there begins this incredible cascading effect, this butterfly effect, and all of these narrative points start stacking on top of each other in such a beautiful manner. It's like watching a Lego set come together if it was being built by Jeffrey Dahmer. And for some reason, Sylvester, the main character, always likes to bring out his Beretta. Half of the time, if anything even remotely looks out of whack, R. Kelly reaches into his fucking butthole and pulls out the Beretta. And it is always a treat. It is truly a treat. I don't want to spoil anything about the narrative because I highly encourage everyone to hear the first 12 chapters at least once in their life because it is impossible to see any of it coming. There are so many twists and turns that make no fucking sense. I was half expecting aliens to come in and start cheating on their wives around chapter 6 and 7. I thought time travel might start playing a role in the narrative with the way things were developing the plot lines. The shit was crazy. The shit was off the fucking wall. It is the most... It's from the mind of a genuine lunatic. I absolutely loved it. And this should be a lesson to all of you. Don't miss the streams I do at twitch.tv/moistcritical, because you'll miss some shit like this. We watched all 12 chapters for the first album, and it was truly beautiful. Now, I can't recommend chapters 13 through 21, because they're just not nearly as good. I'll show you the clip from the stream after we wrapped up chapter 12 where I really put into words exactly how I feel about the following chapters. Now I realize I haven't exactly told you what Trapped in the Closet is. Is it music? Is it just spoken audiobook type shit? It is a soap opera that is sung by R. Kelly. It's over a simple beat, but the beat's interesting because there's actually piss droplets mixed in with the beat. It's actually one of the core sounds of the beat. So you have little droplets of urine hitting water as a focal point of the beat. So it's really lovely and it's super fucking goofy. I do have to say though, and it's not easy for me to say, The next arc in the Trapped in the Closet anime manga is shitty. Like, not like good shitty, like the first chapter, the first arc, 1 through 12. Chapters 13 through 23 are just outright uninteresting, and it pains me to say that. It really does, because for some reason R. Kelly lost his vision. He lost the roadmap. It's like the Star Wars new trilogy. Something happened in his creative process. And after Kathy admits to Gwendolyn and the circle is complete, everyone's now cheating with everyone and everyone knows about it, he didn't know where to take the story. So in chapters 13 through 23, he tries to weave in this, like, crime plot line, which never pays off. And it's, I can play it if you want, but it's really just kind of boring. It's just, I can't think of anything else to describe besides boring. Plus he has, like, 2 comedy intermissions, full chapters dedicated to comedy intermissions, which don't land. I don't know what happened with 13 through 23, but I really wish it wasn't there. It's total filler arc. It lost its way. It's like the rise of the Skywalker of Trapped in the Closet. And unfortunately, episodes 23 through 33 are blocked in the US. So we can't finish the series. But the good news is, if R. Kelly doesn't go to jail, he has promised to release 41 new chapters. So, you know, R. Kelly's done some fucked up shit, but is it worth sending him to jail if we don't get more Trapped in the Closet? You know, you gotta weigh pros and cons here. Like, maybe we leave R. Kelly out long enough to get the next 41 chapters out, and then we throw his ass in jail, you know what I mean? Because it'd be a fucking crime if he doesn't finish the story. Now, it's important to note before diving into the Trapped in the Closet expanded cinematic universe, it is supposed to be taken seriously. R. Kelly defends this as a non-comedic, serious narrative that he's crafting, which makes it so much better. It truly does. I just don't think you could write something as bad as this if you're doing it on purpose, and it's lovely to see that R. Kelly has that delusion to keep writing it so poorly and so expertly shitty. It's a rare treat, an amalgamation of utter garbage mixed with utter fucking garbage, combining to form this masterpiece of shit. It's beautiful, and I had no idea it was this goddamn good. I'd already seen the parodies, heard the parodies and the jokes about Trapped in the Closet, but I never could have pictured it being the way it is. So again, I highly recommend you at least throw it on Spotify once and get through the first 12 chapters, because it is a ride. It is an actual fucking thrill ride from start to finish. I mean, that's about it. So yeah, ever since the invention of the pencil, people have been writing and drawing fan fiction and porn of fictional characters. In fact, it probably predates the pencil. You could probably find some fucking cave paintings from thousands of years ago with hentai scribbled on its walls. In the modern, civilized age, it's called shipping. Shipping is when you put 2 or more fictional characters together in a romantic situation, you write stories about it, you draw porn of it. It's a whole community of people that ship fictional characters. Now, the one I want to talk about today is Reylo fandom. Reylo is Kylo Ren and Rey from the new Star Wars trilogy. They've been shipping him since the first movie, and in the new movie, something has happened that has completely destroyed a large portion of the Reylo fans and made them lose their fucking mind. They're ready to watch the world burn. Now, the things I'm going to show you do contain spoilers for The Rise of Skywalker, so just fair warning, there's spoilers for the new movie. And yes, I know, this isn't representative of the entire Reylo fandom or everyone who jerks off to Star Wars fanfic. I'm well aware this is only a portion of that community that has completely gone off the deep end and fucking balls deep into straight anarchy and just ready to turn the world into Mad Max. I get that it's only a portion, but it's definitely worth talking about because it's a true meltdown on Twitter that is fucking everywhere right now. I can't fucking stand how I put my life on the line for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi just for J.J. Abrams to do this to me. Where does he live? I'm literally going to kill him. How delusional do you have to be to think that going to a luxury movie theater and sitting in a comfortable recliner stuffing your fucking face with popcorn and gummy bears is somehow laying your life on the line? The only thing you're risking in that scenario is more diabetes? Yet this person talks about it like it's a fucking Vietnam flashback about how they laid life and limb down for their country and what they believe in. You paid for a fucking ticket to a movie that's one of the most popular franchises of all time, and you gave money to one of the most powerful corporations in the world. You're not some type of hero. You're not like the rebels in the movie or something. You did genuinely the bare minimum that a human being could possibly do to show support for something that they kind of care about. Also, you're going to notice a common theme with all these tweets. They all threaten to murder J.J. Abrams in various ways, so clearly very sane, non-toxic fandom here. Now, in the spirit of full transparency, I fucking hate having to black out or censor someone's Twitter handle or name. I don't like people going to harass other people for stupid shit, but if you're going to publicly make these goofy death threats and then actually dox and harass the actors, directors, and shit, and post about it publicly, you should have that luxury of anonymity completely waived. But with the new YouTube policies, Twitter policies and shit, I'm not going to take the chance of having their names on display. So I'm going to show you a little quick phase montage of I'm going to murder J.J. Abrams tweets because I can't differentiate reality from fiction and I'm upset. And one thing you'll notice is they all kind of say the same shit. I'm going to kill J.J. Abrams with my bare hands, my own hands. But I find that hard to believe that they could even muster that kind of strength in their hands because they're on Twitter 9 to 10 hours a day, constantly typing and fighting people online. So they're probably suffering from early stage carpal tunnel, arthritis. There's no way they have the hand strength required to strangle him or punch him. God forbid they try and throw a punch. That shit would be so embarrassing. It'd probably just be a little wet noodle across J.J. Abrams' cheek. He probably wouldn't even register it as an attack. He'd probably just think an elementary schooler had a little too much caffeine and got a little too rowdy flailing their arms. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. Fuck you, Disney. Fuck you all. He says as his fucking profile picture has him in a goddamn Mickey Mouse shirt and ears. Guarantee he drinks out of a Mickey Mouse sippy cup as well. I know you can't see the profile pic. I'm just saying. He's gonna keep buying Disney product. You don't have to worry about losing a customer in that guy. I want to cry, but I can't because I'm at work. All I can say is fuck you. I'm surprised someone that can't differentiate reality from fiction can even hold a job. That was the first time Ben Solo looked properly alive, and to take it away so quickly after a lifetime of manipulation and cruelty is psychopathic and ridiculous. Fuck you. Yeah, that's psychopathic and ridiculous, huh? That's the only thing psychopathic and ridiculous here, isn't it? At J.J. Abrams, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, J.J., why didn't you write the movie the way this guy wanted it written? Do you not care about this guy's feelings? You fucking kidding me? Was this a personal attack on this guy in particular? What the fuck is wrong with you, J.J.? You didn't write it the way he wanted it written. God damn you, fucking psychopathic, ridiculous monster. Unfortunately, this is only the tip of the iceberg. There is so many more, but a lot of them get really sad and really personal. Some people hired actual professional therapists to talk through their anger, depression, and sadness due to the Rise of the Skywalker Kylo Ren's death. That is just so fucking sad, and I can't even wrap my head around it. And I honestly can't even blame them in particular. I feel like it's just Twitter in general rewards being a superfan. Again, I use this example a lot, but K-pop stans. K-pop stans are constantly in this own, like, civil war where there's fucking cannibalism, eating each other to be the biggest possible stalker of something they like, and I feel like that's contaminated all of these fandoms. Like, look how much I cared. I'm getting therapy because I'm so upset. Look at me, I quit my job because I'm so upset. And then some people, after the premiere, started crying, asking for refunds, and melting down in the movie theater with people around them. And then they, of course, take to the actors and actresses and people involved and do some really bad stuff. Look how big of a fan I am. I'm trying to hurt the people that made this not the way I wanted it. It's really scary, sad shit. I barely ate today. It's 2:40 a.m. and I'm not even sleepy. What the fuck is wrong with me? Oh my god, you'll be hearing from my lawyers at J.J. Abrams. Yeah, I'm sure that's just what J.J. Abrams is worried about. He's definitely gonna have a wet nightmare about that threat. Fuck you, Disney, Disney Plus, Abrams, Lucas, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, J.J. Abrams. I managed to sleep 5 hours today, the most since last Tuesday. Still crying. Still pathetic that you're that upset over a goddamn piece of fiction, a goddamn movie. At J.J. Abrams, allow me to ask you what the fuck you think you're doing? Yeah, J.J., why didn't you ask her how the movie should be written? What is wrong with you? Hey, J.J. Abrams, fuck you. Bring back Ben Solo. With kind regards, Matt. Well, Matt, when you put it that nicely. Currently feeling very emotional and vulnerable due to the new Star Wars. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams, for making me feel this. Yeah, it's J.J. Abrams' fault that you have the mentality of an 8-year-old who thinks cartoons are real. At J.J. Abrams and Disney, just y'all think about the standards you're setting for girls, telling them not to stand up to their abusers, telling them that men treating them like trash and physically and emotionally abusing them is okay. Fuck you. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know where that's coming from. Still working through my anger. Godspeed, my friend, but I can say I don't think it's working because you've posted 10 tweets since this one all melting down about Star Wars. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams and Disney Studios, for killing Ben for shock value and taking away his right to happiness. He's not a real person, Karen. He's a character in a movie. I went from disbelief to rage, and now I just can't stop crying. Every single Skywalker is dead. Merry fucking Christmas. Hashtag J.J. Abrams is over party. Again, they're not real. There was no Skywalkers. Sorry to tell you, Santa Claus wasn't dropping off those presents. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. There's a ton more, but I'm not going to show you all of it. There's also an entire long case of Reylo fans that doxed and stalked Adam Driver. One of them went as far as to give him a wood carving of his dog at an unwanted gift. A wood carving of his dog. That's some Ed Gein shit. I guarantee she probably clipped some hair when he wasn't looking and she's trying to clone him or making like a bubblegum tribute in her closet like Helga from Hey Arnold. That is some crazy stalkery shit. And when I say they doxed and harassed his family, I don't mean they just found out where he lives and they started sending weird or creepy letters, which would have been bad enough, terrible enough. They went as far as to try and get Adam Driver to divorce his wife to go fall in love with Daisy Ridley in the real world. So they'd make up all these crazy rumors about his wife, about how she cheated on him and shit like this to try and stir up drama to cause a controversy to get him to divorce her, so that way they could go fall in love with Daisy to, you know, they could jerk off to the real world, Kylo and Rey. And they didn't just stop there. Adam Driver hid his children from the spotlight, hid their existence from public knowledge, until it accidentally leaked and the fandom found out, and then they started attacking the children and using that as leverage to get Adam Driver to divorce his wife. It was insane. It's absolutely crazy. Now, I understand it's just a portion. It's not the entire fandom. It's just a really deranged group of genuine lunatics that I can't even begin to believe truly exist. It's unreal. And the scariest part is they totally think that they're in the right, and they're blaming Adam Driver and J.J. Abrams, and they're actually wishing harm upon them and taking steps to try and do things about this anger that they have built up inside of them. A couple women went on Twitter talking about how they quit work because they were so mentally drained from seeing the movie and so emotionally destroyed. These people's lives are being ruined by a movie that they invested so much into for no reason. The fan base that the new Star Wars trilogy has is an extremely dangerous one. There's nothing wrong with shipping and all this fanfic and the Reylo in general, but it has such a large number of people that are really disconnected from reality and are really upset that the movie didn't go exactly the way they wanted, that they're doing some really crazy shit to the actors, actresses, and the people behind the scenes. Even people who even just worked on the set are getting attacked by this fandom. Some of them are, they found, okay, I don't want to dox the person, but they found one person who does some of the visuals for The Rise of Skywalker. They're actively trying to have them blacklisted from Hollywood. It's crazy what they're doing. I'm not going to show you any of those things because that's getting a little too deep and personal into some of these people. And again, I don't want to take any chances with the whole harassment thing. But it is nuts what's going on with a good portion of the Reylo fan base. I don't want there to be any confusion. I think it's totally healthy and natural to get invested in pieces of fiction, TV shows, movies. I do as well, very much so. But to take it to this level, to this unhealthy degree, to the fact where it seems you can't differentiate what's real and what's not, that's dangerous. And to take it as some type of call to arms to ruin people's real lives about the movie or show that you didn't like the way it finished or you didn't like the way it went, that's just outright lunacy. Again, I know it's not the entire fandom of Reylo or the people that ship the fictional characters, I get it. But it is a decent portion. Enough so that Adam Driver himself is afraid of them. John Boyega's been in a fucking Twitter war for the last, 48 hours. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. And I don't think it's only Star Wars. I think it's now just kind of the norm to be an unhealthily obsessed superfan over some hail corporate shit. Because it's Star Wars. It's not like some underdog franchise that really tries to, unite people or deliver a powerful message anymore. It's by the numbers stuff, just generic stuff that doesn't really aim to do anything incredible, and yet people are still hailing it as something huge, like this is a giant movement that we need to support. Come on, we're heroes if we go see this movie. Let's lay our lives on the line to sit in a movie theater and support it. It's just sad. It's really sad to get that invested in something and people that don't care about you and only view you as a number. I don't know. I don't get it, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because it is all over my Twitter timeline. So, yeah, that's about it. So, yeah. During one of my streams a while ago, someone asked me if I could get Reid to come on the podcast, you know, to talk about wieners, vaginas, pussies, and RuneScape, just the normal type of porn talk on the podcast. And I responded saying I don't think Reid would ever want to do that because she doesn't like me, personally. And that led to me telling the story of the beef between Reid and myself. Beef being the wrong word, but for lack of a better term, the bad blood between us. Although this was a while ago, so I'm sure she probably doesn't remember or just doesn't care anymore. But now, ever since I told that story on a stream, people are constantly asking me during streams to tell the story again. And it's kind of cute, kind of like, you know, a kid asking their grandfather who fought in Vietnam to tell them war stories that they've heard a million times from him, except in my case, the only war I fought was on the shores of Reid's butthole. So I figured I'd make a video dedicated to telling the story. So it all started when I made a video about Reid's abominable rap, which remains today one of the worst raps I've ever heard. Now there's definitely a lot worse raps on YouTube from small channels with like 30 views, maybe from like Old Pop Hickey Yokel's barnyard rap ballad about cunnilingus on his animals and making love to his sister, or maybe a chemistry professor's educational rap that's just fucking horrible. But those aren't fully produced raps. Those are all very amateur attempts at it, so I don't really count those as actual raps. Reid had a team behind her and fully produced, so it was a genuine attempt at it, and it was fucking horrible. The worst I'd heard in that department. So I stand by that. I stand by that analysis. On the moist meter, that'd be a 5%. Now, when I published the video, I was made aware she wasn't too happy with my critique of her song here. And I can understand why, because it's clear she put a lot of heart and soul in that. There was inspired lyrics in there, such as, spit stringing from my mouth, let you fuck my face, good nutritious nut. And who could forget when she really takes it home with, jerk it out, jerk it out, jerk it out, beat it out, beat it out, beat it out, jerk it out, jerk it out, beat it out, jerk it out. So I can understand when I insulted her magnum opus of music, that she wasn't too happy with that. And that's when it really started, when I made that video. So she didn't like that I made that, she didn't like me, and then about 2 or 3 months after that, I went on her Twitter page, just browsing and perusing, learning more than anything. Well, honestly, I was just looking for titties, for lack of a better cover story. I went through a lot of different porn stars' pages just to see what productions they were taking part in, really. But while on Reid's, I noticed she had retweeted some fan art. And let me tell you what, that fan art, bingo, bango, bongo, that's the epitome of fan art right there. What it was a crayon drawing of Reid spreading her ass cheeks apart and just having her brown balloon nut winking at the camera. It was fucking beautiful. And I saw this, and I made a tweet about it. It was a very vague tweet. I didn't say what porn star. All I said was, haha, I just saw, you know, porn star's fan art with her gaping asshole in crayon. It was great. And then I guess people found it and told the artist that I said that. And then the artist called me an asshole, and then Reid retweeted that saying I'm an asshole, so then they were just double teaming me. And, you know, it all stemmed because, I mean, come on, it's a crayon drawing of a porn star's asshole. How's that not entertaining? I don't want to show the fan art, but instead I took it upon myself to try and doodle it myself. I did 2 attempts here, neither one of them really capture it. This was my first attempt. It doesn't really convey what it looked like. This looks more like a God of War enemy. So then I tried again. And this one just kind of looks like a Wallace and Gromit character doing some naughty shit. This isn't what the fan art looked like. It definitely looked a lot better than this. And I went on the artist's page, and she's talented. But this particular piece, I had a giggle about. You know, come on. You got a porn star spreading her fucking chocolate starfish, and you're doing it in crayon. That's great. That's gonna put a smile on anyone's face. And to be totally honest, as far as crayon drawings of porn stars spreading their fudge cutters go, this is probably the best it can ever get. It was really well done. I could see where the asshole was. I could see the butthole clearly. There was even some labia draping down like some beef curtains. And the pose was really well conveyed. Like you could see the stretching of the ass cheeks, pulling it apart and seeing what's between them. It was really well done. It had a side by side so you could see what the pose was not in crayon and then in crayon. Really well translated. But I honestly don't know why they both got so offended about me making it a joke. I thought the piece was done lightheartedly as just kind of like, hey, look at this little doodle I did. You remember when you did that photo shoot where you spread your butthole wide? Well, here it is in crayon. Oh, that's cool. Retweet. I didn't know it was going to be a hill you want to die on defending it as some type of artistic masterpiece or anything. Like if someone out there wanted to make a fan art of me with my legs over my head and soft dick slapping me in the face and they did it out of Sharpie or Legos or pipe cleaner or something, I'd be like, haha, that's entertaining, that's cool. And then if people start turning into a joke, you know, I don't think they'd turn to me and be like, defend this. I'd be like, well, at the end of the day, that's my soft cock slapping me in my face out of some goofy material, you know what I mean? That's probably worth making a joke out of. But, you know, anyway, that's why Reid doesn't like me and probably will never come on the podcast. If I'm wrong, Riley, and you do want to come on the podcast, just go ahead and reach out to me on Twitter. But yep, there's the story, and that's it. So yeah. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I like weird news stories. I like to really go out of my way to find stories about people that have done weird things or perhaps weird events that have transpired in the world, and I really just kind of keep my ear to the anus of this world's news outlets. And I found one in a very unexpected place. Pretty standard news story about Lochte. If you don't know who he is, he's an Olympic swimmer who's been playing second fiddle to Michael Phelps his entire career, and I think the years of holding Michael Phelps' ass cheeks have really broken this poor man because over the weekend, he gave us a statement about him and his friends being robbed in Rio, and it's completely fake. In his statement about this robbery, he tried to paint himself as some type of fucking action movie hero like Jason Statham. He says him and his swimmer friends were leaving a club really late, and then they take a cab, and the cab got pulled over by some people pretending to be police, and they held him at gunpoint and robbed him, and he says verbatim in his statement, they pulled out their guns, they told the other swimmers to get down on the ground, they got down on the ground. I refused. I was like, we didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not getting down on the ground. And then the other guy pulled out his gun, he cocked it, put it to my forehead and said, get down. And I put my hands up, I was like, whatever. He took our money, he took my wallet, he left my cell phone, he left my credentials. Now, I don't think it's just me that thinks that sounds like complete bullshit. When I read that, I knew he was just making this shit up. It sounds like a toddler who at show and tell gave something that people laughed at and they didn't think was cool, so he came back the next day with this made-up story about how he had beat up 5 ninjas on the way home from school, and everyone's like, oh, wow, shit, you are cool. Then they feel like a big shot and their ego's boosted. I'm honestly surprised in Lochte's official statement he didn't just go all out and make up some off-the-walls shit like, I was analyzing the environment, looking for things I could use as a weapon, but there was nothing sharp. It was like a fucking bounce house, but I did see a sledgehammer in the background, and I remembered my training. I knew I could slaughter about 5 armed men, but there was 45 of them here tonight, and my teammates were in danger, and I didn't want to start anything and make them get hurt. I could probably have taken them, but for the safety of my teammates, I decided to get down on the ground. Or just something absolutely fucking ridiculous like that. And he just made his friends seem like assholes while making himself seem like this hero of our time who stood up for an extra 5 seconds and then laid down. His friends never even talked about the incident. Only one of them ever gave a statement and it completely contradicted Lochte's, so it's pretty clearly fake. And if that's not enough evidence, there's actually security footage that the Daily Mail released that has Lochte and the people that he was with coming in that night after being supposedly robbed at gunpoint, horse playing, and they have their watches, their cell phones, their wallet, and shit like that. And also, if you think about this logically, Rio has a lot of theft. Tons of it. You can look up right now on YouTube, there's a video that has 30 thefts in a matter of 4 hours, I think. It was something in that ballpark, somewhere in that range. And every single one, they take the phone. The phone is the #1 thing thieves in Rio go for because there's a huge black market for it. So the fact that they would leave the phone and only take money out of their wallet, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And people have realized this. Most people believe that this is a completely fake story, and people are talking about, why would they make it up? Maybe they went to a brothel, maybe Lochte was cheating, maybe this, maybe that. And it's none of that, I can tell you that right now. I can tell you exactly why Lochte made this shit up. How many times have you heard anyone say, the best swimmer in the world is Lochte? When was the last time you ever heard Lochte mentioned before Michael Phelps? Never. No one talks about this man. Because Michael Phelps is just better. This man has been fondling Phelps' scrotum since his career began in swimming. He is an absolutely outstanding swimmer, but he will never beat Michael Phelps. That's just how it goes, unfortunately, for this poor man. And I think he just had enough of it over the weekend. Everyone was just talking about Michael Phelps and his gold medals. So you know what? He came up with this story to make himself seem cool, to make people care about him. On Twitter, everyone was making sure he was okay, so he had to make the tweet, don't worry, I'm safe. everyone started to care about Ryan Lochte. Is he alright? Is he going to be okay? Oh man, Ryan Lochte, he actually stood up for himself there. That is really cool, Ryan Lochte. You know, maybe this guy's got a big old pair of nipples on him. And people just started taking an interest in him, which is just unheard of for that man. Whereas with Michael Phelps, you get a news story every time he ties his shoes. You know, shit like, watch Michael Phelps trim his fingernails, and everyone's tuning in, just real dialed in. Wow. So that's how the most decorated Olympian trims his fingernails. His fingernails grow just like mine. Holy fuck. And with Ryan Lochte, nobody cares. People wouldn't give a shit if Ryan Lochte defused a nuclear warhead in Rio this year if Michael Phelps had just gotten a gold medal. So I understand why he did it, and it's actually really sad. It's like a little brother that's jealous of the older brother for getting all the attention, so they make up some far-fetched story. And in my honest opinion, I think Ryan Lochte should have doubled down on this shit. He should have made it even cooler than it was. Yeah, I realized it wasn't military police right away. I could smell it. It was reptilian humanoids in disguise. So I did the only thing I could do. I unleashed my inner demon. I became the Lochte Ness Monster and just went apeshit. Just something cool, something really fucking cool. But yeah, I just wanted to shed some light on this, let you all know that that story is most certainly fake, and let you know why he did it, why he would fake the story. So yeah, that's it. See ya. What's up everybody, it's Critical. This is something I've never done before, because I don't like to be a part of drama, I don't like to address it or anything like that, it's just not what I'm about, but this actually made me super upset. I'm sure a lot of you know about this situation. So this Nicholas guy posted a video talking about his experience with some big YouTubers. He made an animation, they put it on their channel. He felt he didn't receive proper credit or the terms weren't met, whatever. Most of the controversy is surrounding Nicholas and the Syndicate Project. But the way the Syndicate Project is handling the situation is absolutely disgusting. Nicholas's video is pretty professional. He didn't call him a liar, he didn't call him a scumbag, he didn't insult him in any way. And then the Syndicate Project goes on this stream with this fucking slob there named Keemstar who's just shoving popcorn in his fucking face. And they're just insulting the guy. Relentlessly laying into this guy. He's not even there to defend himself. And they're just personally attacking this man. The fucking Syndicate Project goes in there. Oh, he's just looking for attention because I'm the most popular guy in the whole fucking world. I get pussy. I'll fight anyone that says otherwise. He's a fucking liar. I hate him. Oh, if I saw him right now, I'd jerk him off so hard the skin on his penis would come off. Then I'd slap him in the face. Keemstar can barely fucking speak, but he's trying his best. Sky Williams is in the call, but he's actually being pretty nice about it. He's just laying out the facts. But listen to Keemstar. Just listen to this shit.
My girlfriend? Yes, it's the same fucking guy. I've literally doxed this dude and put his personal information out 100 times. It is.
So now this homunculus is bragging about how he doxed and gave away the personal info of a guy named the Futuristic Hub. I don't know about that drama. So yeah, then this man baby just goes on to brag about how he's a hero and fighting the good fight because he doxed and leaked the personal info of a man who didn't want it out there. And then he goes back to eating popcorn because, I mean, what else is he gonna do? And then they have the audacity to call Nicholas a coward for not joining this call. I think it's pretty clear why he wouldn't join the call. I'm pretty sure he's aware that if he joined this call, he would just get bullied by these two assholes. I exclude Sky Williams because, although he's on the Syndicate Project side, he's not being really rude. Now, I don't know who Keemstar, the Syndicate Project are. I'm guessing they're big YouTube names. I don't know. I don't pay attention to other YouTubers or pretty much anything on YouTube. But the way they conduct themselves is just abhorrent. So, in response to all this controversy and drama, the Syndicate Project made his own response. And he comes across as a massive douchebag in this. It is just unfathomable to think that the Syndicate Project would make this, review it, and be like, yep, this is a good response to the whole thing, and then post it. It is abysmal. Horrible. It decreased my sperm count just watching it. Now, on Nicholas's side, he at least does a good job of showing, hey, I'm telling the truth, look, here's all this stuff, and here's the evidence to back up my claims. Whereas the Syndicate Project just kind of bullies him. Oh no, you're full of shit. Oh, this is why you shouldn't do drugs, everyone. And whatever other mean tweets he had about the whole situation. Now, I'm not sure who's exactly correct on this whole thing, or who's telling the truth and who's not. But that's not the point. The point I'm making is that the Syndicate Project is handling this like a real dickhead. A real bag of penises. An entire vase of cocks. And Keemstar, this goofy fucking thing he's just an absolute asshole. He was talking about how the Syndicate Project should ruin Nicholas's life over this matter. Wow, buddy. That's real great, man. If this is a big YouTuber, I hope no one looks up to him, because he sets a horrible example from the things he was saying here. Now back to the reason I made this video, not trying to prove which side is right or wrong in this matter, just wanted to show the discrepancy between the way Nicholas handles it and the way the Syndicate Project handles it, and how unacceptable the Syndicate Project's behavior was during this. Now I know I didn't exactly handle things in the most professional way or say the nicest things about the situation, especially when addressing Keemstar, but this is something that really shouldn't have been so controversial, and definitely shouldn't have had Keemstar saying ruin his life over it. That's just barbaric, absolutely ridiculous, and Keemstar should be ashamed of himself. I can only hope he's not that type of person, and he just said something stupid in the heat of the moment. Now, I don't know anything about the Syndicate Project, what he does, what he makes, and I have no desire to anymore after this whole thing, but I know he must be a big name since his controversy is actual news, for some reason. So, I have no doubt in my mind that people look up to that guy. And right now the message he's sending all of them is, hey guys, it's okay to bully someone, vehemently assault someone, as long as you think they're wrong. And that's just not a good message to send. That's not right. That is not what he should be trying to tell the people that look up to him. In all honesty, I didn't finish this stream. I just couldn't sit through the whole thing. It was just way too hard to sit through. So maybe Nicholas went in there and everything got squared away, everyone's happy, but that doesn't matter. That's great, everyone's happy, but the way they handled it getting up to that point, assuming that even happened, was just mean and wrong. Now I know, no doubt, this video will make me a target for the Syndicate Project and Keemstar and whoever else, but I felt really passionately about this, that they handled it like bullies in a really mean and rude way. So I wanted to make this. This is my first time talking about YouTube drama. Woohoo! And yeah, that's about it. See ya.